WarsawJS.
So, hello everyone, I'm going to talk about large-scale refactoring. What's that? We are doing that in Fresher recently so much time. So, before I will go, I will define what is large-scale refactoring. Every scale refactoring can be different one, so I'm going to define what is it. In Fresher, we have a lot of teams, different ownership, and sometimes I need to go forward, we need to bump some dependencies and do changes which influence totally code, which we don't have any information how it works. There's the same it is when you have using, I don't know, Webpack, and Webpack is bumping to a new version. You need to update others application and switch to new solution. Yes. So for me, large-scale refactoring, it will be like touching areas which we totally don't know, and it's global change. So examples can be different. It can be bump my version of dependency, change low-level building tool, replace toolset dependency, some function across whole the system. So first, I will start a bit theoretical. Maybe it will be boring for some of you. So define the goal. Everything what you are going to do, it will be bad decision one day. Yes. If you are choosing Webpack, one day it will be some new tool, and Webpack will be bad. Yes. So whatever you are going to do, start with why. Make problem statement and what you are going to choose and write it down. So as well, it's important to define the profit. Don't make refactor only because Angular is more popular now than React, so I'm going to switch. Yes, it's not giving the value of the business. So if you want to get capacity, find the value of this what you are doing, because if not, you are switching technology for the next technology. So Webpack migration to Vite, for example, can be speed of build. JS migration to TS migration, it can be better developer experience. Remove Lodash, for example, decrease size of the application. Yes, it's example of the values. Of course, depending of migration, of refactoring, it will be different. Of course, if you are not touching your code, ensure that you can do it safely. Yes, so you need tests, good testing, and cooperation of different teams, for example, to check your changes. It's always worth it. So how to process with the refactoring? Still theory, incremental approach. We don't need to do everything in one time. If you are migrating TypeScript, let's start slowly. Starting from one file, we are switching to the new one. Yes. And to do it, we need supporters. Our supporters are going to help us to go with this approach. And what is important, if you are creating the new solution, it's worth it to limit creating legacy solution. Yes, so we can have mess in the one room. Everything is written in JavaScript. It's using build some old legacy stuff, and everything is using jQuery. You can have some separate application, and it's written in React, and you are just switching, make people switching from one bad solution to the new one, which in the future, as I want to remark, will be bad. So big bang approach. Sometimes you cannot do it if you are building, I don't know, building tool. It's hard to do it. You need to do it just by one pull request. Do it almost immediately. Yes. So some changes can be hard to split for the small task, and for it, I want to talk exactly how we can process with these changes and what will be the best tool for it. So we are going to work with Lodash get. Who use Lodash and who use get? Lodash get is very familiar for every people who tried ever TypeScript migration, because it has one problem. So our problem statement. Lodash get is responsible exactly to take from the object, depending on some path, some value, and if not, return default value. And starting with why, what the problem it is. Generally, if somebody is writing but in the TypeScript, it's very tricky to get any type. Just our Lodash is losing this value. So in theory, we have TypeScript checking, but we are getting any. So our TypeScript checking is passing. It's very good for some people because we have always green check on Circle CI, because any is any. Everything works, but unfortunately, it doesn't give us security. So it is my problem statement, which I am going to use. We can think as well always when you are going to talk about it with your company, with if you have front-end guilds or something different, you are going to have some blame discussion, who chose that, it was the bad solution, and so on. So in our case, who chose Lodash, it is we are going to cooperate on very legacy code which has over 15 years and it doesn't use ECMAScript 6 because as we know, there is one new solution. There are alternative solutions. We can create some new abstraction with improved like typing. We can cast these types like check by slint or something. Is it explicit to any? If yes, then we can force people to use by slint assign types or use just optional chaining. Of course, every of this solution maybe one day will be bad. So it is our example of how it looks in Lodash, and below how it's going to look in our like final code if you go with the third solution. So let's start with refactorization, and I want to talk exactly about tooling, which will be the best friends with large-scale refactorization. And generally, whatever kind of refactor we are going to do, you can do it in two ways. First, just do it and have hope that it will work. That's a cool solution. Second, it's to analyze code. If you want to analyze code, which is totally not in our ownership and so on, I mean, it's cool, but it generally takes time. So here we are going with AST. Who of you use ever AST? Okay, who of you use slint? Better question. More hands. So every slint use under the hood AST. AST is abstract as syntax tree. What is important is not assigned to programming language. If you switch to PHP, to Ruby, to Swift, everywhere you will have AST. AST, it is abstract syntax tree. Instead of thinking what this code is exactly doing, you are focusing how it is built. So instead of like saying theory about it, I prefer to show it. So I switch here. So I have AST Explorer on the left. I have some code. Yes, it is like, for example, our HTML. And from HTML, it's created DOM. Yes, document model, and we have our, on the right, our AST, our abstraction syntax tree. So we can see exactly that we have import declaration. It's created from source, which is named Lodash. We have as well here, for example, we can click get. I can see that it is some call expression, which use member expression, because on Lodash we want to use the method get, and so on. Yes, so I am focusing exactly how it is built. slint rules works exactly on the same way. They are finding exact AST, exactly the way of building, and they are just blocking that. So if you want to go with this, we can create our custom slint rules, our own linters. So if you want to avoid this this behavior to be like repeated once again, we can start creating the rules. If you are creating the rules as well, remember about educational perspective. Yes, so just don't use, I don't know, Lodash get, but don't use Lodash get and use optional chaining or our new solution which we are going to propose. So can we not just replace get with optional chaining? Because slint rule in our case, I mean, with Lodash get it's quite simple. Yes, always we can replace it to optional chaining in all examples. So cannot we just do it? The problem is that it's taking time. If you have one file to replace, I think it will be like 5 minutes, like to switch to the branch, create pull request, and you can go forward. But if you have more files, it will take hours. Of course, it is repetitive work. You are going always to do the same. Yes. So, as every programmer, if you have 5-minute task, which you can do in 5 minutes, but you are repeating that, you will try to automate that. And there is some tools for it, code modes. Who of you use ever code modes? Two less hands, and I am sad of it, honestly, but I hope it will change. About code modes, from my company already talked Andriy, who had a speech about it 4 years ago, but I am going to make revision of it.
So I can tell you that whoever is using Strapi, for example, then under the hood it's using code mode for migration. So if you have Strapi, then you might have been using code modes. intentionally.
Yeah, similar. I think Prisma is using something similar, and the same like code generator. If somebody is using code generators, for example, to create types from GraphQL stuff or from Swagger, it will be very similar thing. Under the hood, we have exactly some AST, which is going to analyze some structure which we are getting and give us new code as the output. So I am going to try rate migration. Our startup, like if you open JSON code, JS code shift, you will always see this code. It is from what we are starting. So we will have some file and root source, and depending on it, we are going to make some operation. What is the best? Our friends to check what's going on in code. Some of you use debugger. I don't think so. Everybody knows it's console log the best. Yes. So I am going just to run it. JS code sheet is getting like transformer as the entry, and is going to get file on which it is going to operate. So in my case, I will work on some small file which is Lodash here, and I am going here to get the tree of our node. What is important? JS code sheet is working on some idea of collection of nodes. What is node? What is collection? Collection can be many nodes, yes? And node, it's exactly way of writing the code. So for example, it can be code expression, member expression, operation, condition, everything. So how looks our thing in AST Explorer? Oh, I click again. Something incorrect. Never mind. Okay. So on the left, I have my simple code, and I need to find the Lodash. How many Lodash we are having here? Usage? 2. Yes. So now I am going only to show that, thankful for JS code sheet, I can find just 2 Lodashes. I am going to simplify as well, as we don't have so much time. So I am going like to find or call expression, which is going to be used on underscore. I suppose that underscore is Lodash in my case, and is going to use get method. So as you can notice here, we have 2, and all of them are call expressions, so it is calling the function. Okay. So I am going to find code is visible, I suppose, or a bit bigger. It's okay, I hope. Okay, so I'm going to, in our root source, I'm trying to do find. I don't know why I have like any type. I'm going to try to find J call expression. I'm a bit afraid that I don't have like type support. But let's see what I'm going to have. The result should be collection. Okay, so we have 3. 3 obviously is not equal to. Where is one more call expression which we can find here? So one more usage of the function. Get object, yes? Okay. So let's see what's the difference. Get object is use, it's calling. So what is calling exactly that? In our case, it's identify get object. It's not what we are looking. Yes, it's not underscore. No, it's get. It's not. So we need to filter that. We have second method for it. And we are going to get here node. Of course, the best friend is console log. So we are going to have like 3 methods here. As you see, it's a lot of code which is written. And under the hood, we have call expression. And call expression is going to have one function which is called callee. Callee, what exactly called it? I don't know why I don't have supports of TypeScript. It would be nicer to have it. I think I just forgot to do npm install. Let's see if it's going to work. It would be a bit easier for me. Oh, no. Okay, no, I don't have it. Doesn't matter. So we are getting.
Reload the window. Starting TypeScript should be covered.
I think it should without this. Okay.
Should we try to off and on again?
Good idea.
No, you can go to commands, command palette, and do the reload window.
Let's try. Okay. Okay, never mind. We'll do without TypeScript. I mean, I am going to show as well migration from TypeScript to JavaScript later at the end. We will change it. So, or maybe no. Okay, so we are going first in Collie find. Collie, it's going to be collection. Collection can be different node, as I said. Yes, it can be argument passed as variable. It can be as passed as some method, whatever. So I need to ensure that inside my Collie type is going to be member expression. Yes, because I'm going to use call method, which is exactly taken from the Lodash. So I am going to add some condition. I will as well ensure, as I don't have types, that I have what I have. So I am getting here member expression, which I want to filter. If not, as in every filter, I don't want to take. And if it is member expression, I will have access to two different things. For the object, main thing from which I'm going to take some member, so our load method. So I am going to check first, is it Lodash? So from my node Collie, I am going to get, I'm going to check if type, if object type. The problem is types, which makes writing code much harder. Identifier, and if it is, its name, in our case, will be underscore. If I didn't make any mistake, I should have the new number here. And instead of 3, I should get 2. I got 2. Cool. I am now able to find the Lodash. I am still not able to find method get. Yes, I want to focus only on the migration method of the get. So method will be very similar. It will be still identifier. Instead of object, I am going to use property. And name, in my case, it's going to be get. So the result is nothing. Nothing has changed. I am able to find the Lodash, and I am able to find the method of get. Cool. So now I can exactly focus on replacing this, my usage, in programmatic way. So I am going from our get usage. I'm going to make for each on it. And I am going to get AST path from which I can read node. Okay. From AST path, thing which I can do, I can replace it with the something new. Before we were using identifier. What was identifier as node of the type? Definition of the variable. Yes, in our case it was Lodash, it was method. So let's try to replace our Lodash for something which programmers love to do. So what programmers have there, when you are born as programmer, like in Sparta way, if you are not saying hello world, you are like going to be disappeared from this world. Okay, so I'm going to create identifier. I will keep small letter, and I'm going to do hello world.
3 minutes left.
No worries. In the worst case, I am going like to decrease that. I replace. Is it cool? Is it cool? Have I used something what was connected with this code? Have I analyzed this code? Not at all. So in every node, if we focus exactly on our Lodash, from where I will find source of things which I need to take. Arguments. First argument, object from which I want to take. Second, it will be path. Third, it will be default value. So from my node, I'm going to take arguments. First is going to be object, path, default value. Cool. Okay. I am going just to print just default value currently. Okay, we have some default value. My default value was default, so nothing has changed exactly in this code. It was default, it was default. So as we don't have time, I am not going exactly to focus on members. I will try to make just this OR operator. So object, path in future we can add, and default value at the end. So in case we have default value, what we are going to want to have, we won't have object or default value. So what kind of node expression is going to be? In our case, logical expression. So how I was creating before, AST replace, instead of identifier, I am going to use logical expression, which as the first argument is going to get which kind of operation, later what will be on the left side, and later what will be on the right side. Of course, I want to replace it that only when I have default value defined. Okay, done, operation done on the file. I replace it.
That should be object plus concatenated with path.
Yes, I mean, I am out of the time, so I don't want to switch. I just want exactly to show what we can do. Go forward with that. So this, I will show as well how to address that after the hours, in that way, I will say. But what is important, I did operation on the one file. If I would like just to limit my migration to it, I'm able like to pass all the files and operate that on different files as well. So in that way, I pass, for example, next file here, exactly ignoring currently the path and going with default value.
I think we could use the whole workshop on this, really. It's fascinating. Yeah. I think everyone's clearly interested, right? This is good material.
Give me half of the minute.
Okay,
and I will go. So the question is, if we are going with this approach, should I automate everything? Because it's time consuming, don't you think? Focus on the biggest number of cases which you have in your code. You know your code exactly. Do you want to edit imports, for example, to use it? Go only with that. Yes, so exactly focus on your things. If you migrate to TypeScript, it can be just, for example, rewriting the props from prop types in React components. Yes, it's still saving you some time, and it can be
9,
cool use.
8.
If you are,
7.
Don't waste 6 hours of migrating things which you can do just in 1 minute, and you are doing one per year. Code mods ready to use. There are a lot of code mods which you can use as well. On the list, you will find code mods which are doing exactly this kind of work, and you don't need to write them almost never. And that's all. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for Krzysztof about this presentation? We have time for 2 questions. Sebastian, huh? Oh no, you missed it, Sebastian. There you go. I'm not going to throw it. No.
What is this? Okay, you don't like that. Okay. This whole AST3 thing is really cool, but in that example, couldn't we just use regular expression? Because that would be my first thought.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it depending exactly of the case. I didn't want exactly choose the cases because some of the cases, for example, import replacement as well, we could go just with Command-Shift-F and replace all. So everything depends on the case. I exactly wanted more to show how to analyze, take something from some part of the code and move it to different part of the code.
Would you always do that, or would you sometimes just use?
In my opinion, tool depends on what you want to get. Yes, if it is possible to do by regex or I don't know your JetBrains or Visual Studio Code, in my opinion, taking next functionality for it only like to practice is like wasting of the time. So everything depends here.
Good question. Next question.
Thank you very much. So this is, I think, the first time that I'm asking two speakers a question. Guys, you, Sergey and Krzysztof, could you work out together somehow how you could mix TensorFlow and CodeShift and could you fix my code? Thank you.
That's the real question. Augmentation plus automation. Yes. How does that work?
Yeah.
Was that a real question?
Yes.
Okay, somebody answer that. You have an answer?
I mean,
Can I expect some?
I mean, of course we could, but everything depending how much you pay.
Enough washing. Okay, that was it. Last question. We're back to the money thing again. All right. So, folks, thank you very much, Krzysztof, for the presentation.